Thank you for joining us here today on Hill Country Happenings News Minutes. We are at the Freedom Fest here in New Albany. We've been around talking to the guys that are doing the grilling and ladies for the Blackberry Festival Jubilee. We have also been listening to some fantastic music. We've run into some old friends of ours and some new ones too. Miss Cindy will be around later to do some reporting, and we'll have some music. We'll be talking to some musicians, and we will have music. And don't forget the fireworks. Y'all, it's going to be a great day. Now for a little bit of the news. Mr. S sent in his rain gauge reading, and we had 4.97 inches of rain. That's pretty good for this week. Also, there was a sad tragedy here in our New Albany. A long-time manufacturing building, and it now housed Thomas Furniture, burnt. The old Piper building on Highway 15 North caught on fire, and it burnt. Most of the building is collapsed. Thomas Furniture was in there, plus Masterbuilt had been using it for storage. They lost everything that I've heard that was in that building. It was sad because I used to work at Piper Impact. I started there in 1983 when I was 19 years old. And I kind of grew up in Piper, I tell people. So it was kind of a bittersweet when I went by and saw it on fire. We'll be having the judging announcement for the Blackberry Jubilee contest winners here in just a little bit. Thank you for joining us here today on Hill Country Happenings News Minutes. Now be sure to go to the social media and like us on our Facebook page, Instagram. Be sure and subscribe to our YouTube channel. That way you do not miss any of our original programming. We hope you'll stay tuned for the rest of the show, and we hope you have a wonderful week.
I'm Drew with Native Sun Farm. We got some squash and some zucchini, some kale and some cabbage, some beautiful tomatoes today, some cherry tomatoes and some pepper.
Jack Houck from Atlanta, Georgia. Crystal Springs, Mississippi. Lake Wilkinson from Jackson, Mississippi. And Hall Hastings from Tuscaloosa, Alabama. And we are the Bustie Petites. I would call it like funky southern rock, psychedelic type stuff. Funk rock. We got together about 3 years ago. Three of us were living in our fraternity house together at Ole Miss. And we all met and started playing a couple bars around town. And Will here joined up with us about a year ago. And we've been playing ever since then. I play bass and sing. He plays guitar, a little bit of guitar. Paul plays drums. I've played bass since I was about 17.
Play guitar since about 14. I've been playing since I was about 12, so that's about 11 years now.
I've been playing guitar since I was about 11, so it's been a minute.
I also play some. As an individual bassist, I would say Marcus Miller probably. As a band, probably either the Allman Brothers or the Grateful Dead, I think.
I'm just inspired by all of the music in today's world. I would say my biggest inspirations right now that are touring are Chris Myers and Joe Russo.
Trey Anastasio.
Maybe that accepting this outside the field and your skill set are not in the kind of music that y'all play.
The Chicken Song, By Myself. I would want to play Spirit of the Radio by Rush.
I'd want to play a classical composition.
I don't know. I kind of like the stuff we play right now, so maybe like Brown Eyed Women by the Grateful Dead or something like that. We came up with the name when we were living in our fraternity house, I think sophomore year, kind of just spitballing ideas, and one of our friends was in the room and kind of just came up with that and stuff. Since then. It's thebustipetites.com, and we also have a Facebook page and Instagram. About 10 songs. We have 2 releases on Spotify. Blake and I write the majority of the lyrics. We have a song called Daily Bread. That's probably our most popular on Spotify right now. We just put out another small album with songs called Creeper and Hoofin' and On My Way. Could be free. As a musician, just do what you think sounds good to your own ears and don't really be swayed by what you think is going to be popular or anything like that.
Follow your dreams. I would say just be creative and express who you truly are through whatever means possible.
Follow your dreams.
Thank you.
My name is Robert. I'm from LA. What do I like about New Albany? What don't I like about New Albany? I love it. I've been here about probably close to 8 years, and it's been great. My favorite part about New Albany? Wow. I wouldn't know where to begin because I've had a great time since I've been here. I'm guessing I'm kind of nervous, but it's been great just being here. And this is one of my favorite places. little get-togethers like this, I enjoy it a lot. And well, today I went to make a payment from work, and I saw this, and I thought to myself, I gotta go pick up my wife. And here we are. Yeah, and it's just beautiful. I love it. I went back to LA probably about 3 or 4 years ago, and as much as I love LA, I would never change New Albany, Mississippi for nothing. Oh yeah, I love it. I gotta try it out. She was just telling me about it, and it's right here.
Love it. Show her your finished product. Let me see how it goes. A lot of editing on this one. All right. Look at that. Patty.
Morrison, and welcome to the Union County Republican Women's Club to our state candidate forum this evening. We just are so excited that each and every one of you is here, and I know you're in for a great evening to get to meet and to know some of our candidates. To start off with, we want to really set the mood tonight. We have a very special guest tonight that's going to do that for us, Mr. Clint Reed, and he has some musical entertainment for us.
My father he raised me on, of course, Elvis and Johnny Cash, but his favorite patriotic anthem was from Johnny Cash, and it's That Ragged Old Flag. I walked through an old county courthouse square, and on a park bench an old man was sitting there. I said, "Your old courthouse is kind of run down." He said, "No, it'll do for our little town." I said, "Your old flagpole has leaned a little bit, and there's a ragged old flag you got hanging on it." He said, "Have a seat." Well, I sat down. "Is this the first time you've been in our little town?" I said, "I think it is." He said, "Well, you know, I don't like to brag, but we're kind of proud of that ragged old flag. You see, we got a little hole in that flag there when Washington took it across the Delaware, and it got a powder burn the night Francis Scott Key sat watching it writing, 'Oh, say, can you see?' And it got a bad rip in New Orleans with Packenham and Jackson tugging at its seams. And it almost fell at the Alamo beside the Texas flag, but she waved on though. She got cut with a sword in Chancellorsville, and she got cut again in Shiloh Hill. There was Robert E. Lee, Beauregard, and Bragg. Oh, and the south wind blew hard on that ragged old flag. On Flanders Field in World War I, well, she got a big hole from a Bertha gun. She turned blood red in World War II. She hung limp and low a time or two. Well, she was in Korea, Vietnam, and she went where she was sent by her Uncle Sam. She waved from our ships upon the briny foam, and, well, now they've about quit waving her back here at home. In her own good land here, she's been abused. She's been burned, dishonored, denied, and refused. And the government for which she stands is scandalized throughout the land. And she's getting threadbare and wearing just a little thin. Oh, but she's in good shape for the shape she's in. 'Cause she's been through the fire before, and I tell you, I believe she can take a whole lot more. So we raise her up every morning, and we take her down every night. We don't let her touch the ground, and well, we fold her up just right. You know what? On second thought, I do like to brag, because I'm mighty proud of that ragged old flag.
Well, thanks, Miss Sue. Thanks for asking me to do this. I look forward to it. If I could get the candidates that are here for Northern District Transportation Commissioner to come sit in the 3 chairs to my left, please. I want to start by just explaining the format a little bit. We'll start with each candidate in the first 3 groups having a couple of minutes to introduce him or self. And what I would ask during that time is that you tell us who you are, why you're running for the office, and if you have any unique ties to Union County. We'd like to hear about those as well. Then we will go through a series of questions. And the questions are set up in a bit of a town hall format. So the first question that I ask, the first person will get 2 minutes to answer that question, and then the other 2 candidates will get a minute to answer that question. And we will go through the list and give everybody a chance to go first. I told them they got unlucky. The easy grader was here during the last one of the forums and passed out the questions in advance. They've got the hard grader, and they've not seen these questions. So we will give them just a second. Ms. Nancy is the official timekeeper. She has warning signs of when you've got 30 seconds, when you've got 10 seconds, and heaven forbid you're not done by then, because then her phone's going to go off and she's going to stand up. So If you do have questions, we would ask you to put those on the card and bring them to me. I also want to tell you a little bit about the questions. These all came from questions that were submitted to folks, and then they passed these on to me. I have taken them and wordsmithed them, pulled themes together. Some cases I just used the questions directly, but wanted to take as much time as we could to get right to the questions that were asked. And with that, I'm going to pass the mic off to the first candidate and ask him to introduce himself, tell us a little bit about who he is, why he's running, and ties to Union County, and that's John Caldwell.
Good evening. There's some unique ties, mostly family ties to New Albany, and my brother-in-law and sister and family that run the Super Saver Drugs down here, and some old family and friends that have been around here for a while, but nothing really unique, just family and friends. But I'm running for Transportation Commissioner because I really feel like we can make a difference. We're in a good opportunity to do something. You can sum my campaign up into 4 simple words: better roads, better jobs. And that's pretty much it. Then you got to look at the candidates. There's 5 of us in the race in the Republican primary, and they're all good Republicans, they're all good people, and you're going to have to choose which one do you think can do the most with the least. Who can make a difference better for you? It's that simple. I mean, you're the ones that are hiring us, so we're actually in a job interview of sorts, and I run as the county supervisor in DeSoto County. I've been there building roads, contracting for roads, taking care of basic maintenance as a little strange feedback, but that's okay. Besides the county supervisor position, I was the director of transportation for DeSoto County Schools, and was able to, lost it I think, okay. Anyway, as director of transportation, I was able to be a consumer of those roads as a CDL holder and find out what's happened when I have bridges that I can't get those children to school. So I know what it's like to feel your pain, and I like to get down to Jackson and hopefully make a difference in North Mississippi and get that money a little bit further than it's been getting in the past. So appreciate your vote, your consideration, and look forward to the questions tonight. Thank you for having me. Love you guys, and we'll talk to you soon.
I'm going to take a moment here and see if I can get this. Okay. Next candidate is Jeremy Martin.
Thank you so much. Good afternoon. I'm Jeremy Martin. I'm the only candidate in the race for Transportation Commissioner from Eggville, Mississippi. If you know where Tupelo is, that's our biggest suburb. And so to be back on the Rooster Network, the Hill Country Network, is really an honor for me, being from Eggville. For the last 11 years, I have served Secretary of State Delbert Hosemann in his offices here in North Mississippi. We started an office in 2008 in Tupelo, one in 2009 in Hernando. For the last 3.5 years, I've been Assistant Secretary of State for North Mississippi, and it's been a distinct honor for me to work with him and for you for the last 11 years. The reason I'm running for this office is pretty simple. I believe that the lives of our families, our friends, and our neighbors are too important not to address the crumbling infrastructure that we have in the state of Mississippi. We need a visionary leader who looks for solutions, not excuses. We need a visionary leader who is set in his mind to ensure that we identify and secure a long-term funding source strictly for transportation infrastructure, not just at the state level, but at the county level and the city level too. And that we make decisions each and every day when it comes to transportation that makes our roads safer for our public and North Mississippi more economically competitive in the future. Now, ties to Union County. I have no family ties to Union County, but let me say that there's no county that I mention more in my speeches than Union County. And there's a reason why. In each and every speech, I talk about the 1987 highway bill and the visionary leadership of Mayor and Representative Pennebaker that made that program such an incredible success for the entire state of Mississippi, but in particular North Mississippi. And so I want to continue the vision that he had, that he started back in the 70s and 80s, and continue it into the 21st century. I'm Jeremy Martin. I'd love to be your next Transportation Commissioner.
There's only one person in this room that calls me Yosti,
That's him right there. I am Jeffrey Yost. I'm delighted to be here. I'm a candidate for Transportation Commissioner. I'm from Lafayette County. My ties to Union County are, I've been over here a lot of times for high school athletics, and I've lost more to the Bulldogs than I've won. It's painful when the Chargers come over here. Played soccer at the Sportsplex. Faulkner's my hardest person to read, so that's another Union County, and you have the most outstanding president of Republican women in the state. You work so hard. Thank you for all you do. This is just an example of it. I'm running for Transportation Commissioner. You know, I've had a lot of good leaders in my life that I've followed, and actually two of them are in this room. I served under General Bill Waller Jr. in the Guard, and I served under Governor Kirk Fordyce, and his chief of staff was Andy Taggart. Prior to that, I worked for Senator Trent Lott. Worked transportation issues for the governor and for the senator, and it was a great honor. I retired from the Army Guard. I led, directed, and supervised soldiers. My final tour was teaching ROTC at Ole Miss. I trained, recruited, trained, and commissioned lieutenants and sent them all over the globe to fight the war on terror. It was a great honor. It wasn't easy, but we did it. We got it done. I've spent the last 15 years in the private sector, making a living, support my family. I got a lot of gray hair. I've got 3 teenagers. God bless me. This opportunity came along. My friend Mike Taggart chose not to run for re-election for whatever reason. The more I run, I kind of realize this is a hard job. But my phone started ringing. I realized they wanted somebody from this part of the district to represent them. I put my name in the hat. I asked for your consideration. My name is Jeffrey Yost from Fayette County, and I appreciate it.
Thank you, sir. So we'll start this in alphabetical order, and the first question will go to John Caldwell. He'll have 2 minutes to respond to this, and then the next 2 candidates will each have a minute to respond to the same question. And the first question is, it's been over 30 years since a significant road bridge package was enacted by the legislature. Please tell us how you would work with the legislature to pass a comprehensive infrastructure program, and then how you would prioritize the use of funds in the Northern District. So let me repeat the question. It's been 30 years since we had a significant road and bridge package, and I want you to tell us how you would work with the legislature to pass a comprehensive infrastructure program, and how you would prioritize the use of funds in the Northern District.
Thank you, and that's a good question, because that's what we're all here for. We all want to make a difference. And it is going to take a more comprehensive approach to what we're doing. Interesting that the question brought up the legislature, because they're the ones that are going to have to pass it, and we'll have to give them some good top cover and some experience and some feedback that they're going to need. But the first thing I can do as a transportation director is listen, not just to those representatives or those senators, but they're getting feedback from their constituents. There's people on the road that can make a difference. I like common sense solutions. And what I mean by common sense, when you pull up to an intersection and the grandchildren and the children and the parents and the grandparents all look at it with a puzzled look and say, why did they do that? That's common sense solution when they say, why don't they just move that road over? We might not even have to build a bridge. So if we listen to the people who live and work and drive those roads, then we can go to Jackson, to the people that are representing those people that live and work and drive those roads, and make a difference. And we do need to do it in a comprehensive way. And my background, whether it's as a county supervisor or when I was in the Marine Corps as a colonel, we worked with all kinds of people. When I got elected as a county supervisor, I was the first and only Republican. So I can work with the Democrats, I can work with the independents. We all become Mississippians once the election's over. Pass it all down. Thank you, John.
I love the question, Doc, because it is the most pivotal question that we're facing right now. And let me tell you what my plan is. My plan is pretty simple, but it's going to take a great deal of work. We need to build a coalition of stakeholders from around the state. Ag producers, manufacturers, supervisors, municipal leaders, education leaders who've rerouted buses because of closed bridges. And we need to bring them to the table as many times as we need to to get them to find a long-term sustainable solution to the funding problem we have with transportation infrastructure. And then we need an articulate leader to take it to the people and sell it community by community all over North Mississippi, to take a lot of the pressure off the Mississippi legislature and put it on somebody else's back. And I am that person that's willing to do just that. It's the same thing we did in '87, and it's the same thing that'll work in 2020 and beyond. Real quick, priorities. I think the priorities for roads and bridges going forward have to be public safety, number one, and making North Mississippi more economically competitive, number two.
Is that counting this one?
No.
It's a super good question. It's a super important question. In the special session, the legislature gave us $251 million to fix our roads and bridges. I've been to many events where they said, well, I fixed the bridges, I fixed the infrastructure problem, and we didn't raise your taxes one bit. Well, that was great red meat for that Republican group. But you know what? $251 million is an election year happy. They have not come up with a solution for a sustainable fix for our roads and bridges problem. It's the biggest problem that we have, and it needs to be addressed. I will sit down with the speaker, with the new lieutenant governor, who, by the way, will probably be the smartest guy in the Capitol. No offense, Robert and Bill Jr. But I plan to sit down with him and provide them with any assistance that we can give them, and work with those committee members, the chairman, to try to help come up with a sustainable solution. That's the only way we're going to fix it.
David, we're actually going to start with you. And Ms. Nancy, with these questions, what we'll do is we'll say a minute or two. If he goes over 2 minutes, then you can jump up and fuss at it, but he may not go that long. Although this
have me all the time anyway.
Although this first one may take you a second. The question is, PERS is reported to only be about 80% funded. How do you propose to solve this underfunding, and would you consider moving from a defined benefit plan to a defined contribution model for those new to state government employment?
Well, first and foremost, a little education on the Treasurer's involvement with PERS. The Treasurer is a sitting member of the PERS board, so they do consult with PERS when they have meetings. Think about this question. Regarding PERS, repeat the question, I'm sorry.
It's 80% funded, and how do you propose to solve the underfunding?
Okay. So first and foremost, with PERS, the members who are in PERS today deserve what they are owed. They started working in government, they're owed the contract that we agreed when they put the retirement money into PERS. I believe they should. They could easily step out of state government, work in the private sector, and make more, but we've decided to give them a great retirement package, so they are owed what they have put into PERS. I am in favor of another type of plan in terms of the new members coming in. The 20-somethings, the people coming out of college. The current rate of PERS is unattainable. It needs to be fixed. And we need to look at the investments in which we are invested in with PERS to make sure they are making the best rate of return possible.
So we'll switch this a little bit, and Andy, the first question for you is, concerns have been raised that cases with very large attorney fees under the current and previous attorney generals have been assigned out on contingency basis to friends of the office holders and have resulted in less money coming to Mississippi taxpayers. How will you as Attorney General assure voters that cases are not piggy banks for outside law firms?
I'm running for Attorney General, to be clear, and David is not my opponent in this race. This is a very important question, and one that I get almost everywhere I go, Dr. Deese, and I would say a couple of things about it. One is, when Phil Bryant was state auditor before he was governor, he hired me to work with him to recover the illegal attorney's fees arising out of the WorldCom tax case that a lot of you all will remember. So I've already been in the fight, but I think that what I would say is, in those circumstances in which the Attorney General determines that it's necessary to hire outside counsel, which I think should be rare, should not be the rule, but when it's necessary, it should be by RFP, go to the public, to law firms around the state and say, explain to me why your firm is best suited to represent the taxpayers of the state of Mississippi in this particular piece of litigation, not to get the lowest bidder, but to get the best firm best suited to best serve the taxpayers in that case.
So David, what opportunities do you see to allow state government to function more efficiently? Andy and David introduce themselves and tell them why they're running and any unique ties to Union County.
This is tough to do. This is like being the last person to speak before lunch, right? But this will be very brief, I promise you. My name is Andy Taggart. I'm running for Attorney General for two key reasons. One is the Attorney General is the top law enforcement official of our state, and I believe the gravest danger that we face, as I talked about earlier, is the scourge of drugs. It is destroying our families, and it is destroying our communities, and until we get serious about it, not at the local level, local law enforcement is very serious about it. We are not serious about it at the state level. Until we get serious about it at the state level, we are not going to turn the corner. Secondly, the Attorney General is your top lawyer. In the last 24 months, it's been my privilege to argue before the Mississippi Supreme Court, before the Mississippi Court of Appeals, and before the United States District Court in Jackson. Those are the three courts before whom the Attorney General must appear most frequently. It distinguishes me from the other candidates in this race. But also consider the decisions that have been made by some of our top Republican elected officials when they had to hire counsel. Kirk Fordyce needed a chief of staff and a counsel, he hired me. When Haley Barber needed a lawyer to go argue in favor of voter ID at the Fifth Circuit in New Orleans, he hired me. When Phil Bryant needed somebody to help recover the illegal attorney's fees arising out of the WorldCom tax case, he hired me. And on the heels of the awful Department of Corrections scandal where our corrections commissioner stole $1 million that we know about, Phil Bryant asked me to co-chair the task force whose job it was to make recommendations to the legislature to see that that never happens again. So Kirk Fordyce and Haley Barber and Auditor Phil Bryant and Governor Phil Bryant thought that I would do as a lawyer to represent your interests. I ask that you consider whether that might be the same decision you reach on August the 6th. Thank you so very much.
I really am going to be the last person before we go. So I don't want to stand in front of y'all. So I'm David McCrae, run for state treasurer, and I'm going to keep this brief. When you commonly think of the state treasurer's office, you think of the college savings and unclaimed property. Well, that's two important functions, but equally as important are the investments and the bond and credit rating. Now, as managing partner of McCrae Investments, I deal with Wall Street on a daily basis. I know how to handle Wall Street, I know their tricks, I know their games, but most importantly, I know who to call in New York, and I also know how to take advantage of Wall Street. So if I'm elected as your state treasurer, there are four things I want to accomplish. One, I want to look at our investments from the top down and make sure they make good sense and a good return for our investment, or our money. Look at the national economy today. We're at 26,000 points, 700 and some numbers after that. It's very impressive. 8 years ago, under President Obama, we're at 15,000 points. And they kept saying the economy's going to grow. Never grew. But under President Trump, an outsider business person like myself, the national economy has grown. There is no reason in my mind that the Mississippi's economy and our investments shouldn't be taking advantage of a national economy, strong national economy while we have the chance. Not going to stay that way forever. We need to take advantage of it today. Second, like I said earlier up here, efficiency and transparency. We need to, as the state treasurer's website, I'm going to have it where you see our managers and see what our money's doing on a daily and quarterly basis. Customer service. As part of the McCrae department store family, customer service was our #1 priority. I'm going to bring that back to state government. I know some of y'all have had some experience with state government, and it may not have been a very good experience. But if you call the state treasurer's office, my employees will be educated on the issues and know everything that you're calling about. And finally, I know I'm up, sorry, but I'm going to go one little further. And finally, our bond and economic incentive packages must make sense. And what I mean by that is, if we're giving away taxpayer dollars, your money, the companies that are coming to Mississippi must hire Mississippians. That is first and foremost in my mind if I'm able to give out bonds as your next state treasurer. On August 6th, vote for David McCrae. I'm currently endorsed by 30 Trump County chairmen and women, as well as Governor Phil Bryant, and I appreciate your support on August 6th.
What we'll allow you to do first is introduce yourself. Tell us who you're from, and guys, I apologize. I didn't start that with you. That's my bad. We'll back up and do that at the end. My apologies. If you would introduce yourself, tell us why you're running for governor, and if you have any unique Union County ties.
I'm Bill Waller, and Republican nomination for governor. The reason is we have some issues that we need to deal with, and that's education, both vocational and teacher pay. The second is health care. We've got to have strong hospitals. The third is roads and infrastructure. My skill set is 21 years on the Supreme Court, the last 10 as Chief Justice, head of a branch of government, dealing with appropriations, dealing with elected officials from coast to coast and border to border. 29 years in the National Guard. When the tornado comes through, the hurricane blows, I realize what we need to do with those assets, and also being 20 years in private law practice. My ties with Union County are good. I was there's Sergeant Ray Tate is here from the Troop C. I was in the 1st 108th Armored Cav for 20 years. New Albany here was part of that as C Troop. And so got great associations. I was on the brigade staff in Tupelo. William French, the florist here, was a member of that. So I have many, many friends, and also my wife is from Alcorn County. I passed through that bad intersection at 30 in front of the hospital every month, a couple of times a month for years and years. So I'm personally familiar with that. But this is a great place. I think a treasure of Mississippi. I've ridden on the bike trail here. So this is a great place, and I'm privileged to be here, and I think those assets, would be useful for the state.
Thank you for having me here this evening. My name is Robert Foster, and I am a small business owner and farmer from Hernando. And for the last 14 years, I have been building a business really from the ground up. It's a business that my mother got the foundation started, and I added in a lot of different unique aspects to that business. We have a U-pick operation, we have a pumpkin patch and corn maze that we're best known for, a choose and cut Christmas tree farm, and an event facility. And I guess the tie I would have to Union County is I know there have been a lot of school children and a lot of families that have come to our farm now for over 20 years. And especially the last 14, we have started drawing in quite a crowd over there. We've had over 50,000 visitors now per fall just during our pumpkin patch and corn maze season. And during those 14 years, my experience that I believe that I bring that is unique to this governor's race is I have run a business with over 100 employees, and I've listened to all of their concerns that they face, and I've been listening to all of the concerns of the people of Mississippi all over the state the last almost 7 months that I've been on the road. And I have developed a few ideas that I believe will help our state move forward. And the biggest thing I think that we need in this state is to put someone in office in charge of our state that has a vision and has a plan to help get our state's economy growing, because we have tremendous potential in this state. And we are holding ourselves back with the policies that we have in place in Jackson, because there have been those that have been refusing to change our economic policies, and they've been holding us back for far too long, and it's time for the people of Mississippi to reach their full potential.
Now the fun starts.
And this past year we saw 1,169 people there at the rehab center. That equaled almost 36,000 services. And we couldn't do that without rides like this. So thank y'all so much for your support. We've got a couple of announcements. Number one, we want to thank all our sponsors, and you'll see signs along the route here, and also when you get back. Also, if you did not get a t-shirt, we've got extra yellow t-shirts that you can get before you go. But if you don't want that, just give us your name and your size, and I will get those to you. So sorry about that, but we'll make that better for everybody, I promise. Also, if you're doing the metric century ride and going off the trail, when you go down, you'll see a sign that says Hills Ride to the left, and just take that, and that'll be off the trail there. Good work. Good work. Yeah, that's perfect. Yeah, that's a horn.
This is the 5th year we've been doing this, third year that we've partnered with New Albany Main Street Association, and since we've done that, the ride's gotten a lot better, being able to have music and food afterwards, and just and the ride's steadily grown every year too because of that. This year we have over 100 riders. The registration was $35, and we have 62.5 mile metric century. You can stay on the Tanglefoot, or you can go off the Tanglefoot too. There's a hills ride that you can do with that, and then the 50 mile, and then also 25 mile. Just have a great time. People come out and have fun, and we had so many sponsors and so many people to support the ride that we were very blessed, and we greatly appreciate the community. New Albany Main Street Association is amazing. Miss Billie Jean, Miss Tracy, and New Albany is beautiful. I mean, the trailhead here, it's just, since I've even started doing this, it's gotten better and better and better, just the way it looks. It's been pretty cool to be a part of this. And so we appreciate the support of the Regional Rehab Center. We've been around for over 50 years providing physical, occupational, speech therapy. Do that all free of charge, see people of all ages, and also don't charge insurance either. So we greatly appreciate all the support.
Good, how are y'all?
My name is Caitlin Horn, and I'm out here helping with my anchor clubs, and especially trying to help the animals at the Union County Humane Society.
I'm doing good. How about you today? They give you a hot dog today. But at least we have a break. I know, I feel
How you doing? Great, how are you? Better than I deserve. Where are you from? Tupelo, Mississippi. Actually, not Tupelo, I live there. I'm from Damn Yankee, Chicago, Illinois. Welcome to the South, sir. I've been there. Yeah. First two things I learned about the South was where howdy and where yonder was. It was amazing. I learned something.
blackberry jams. I have a hot pepper infused honey that's great for grilling meats and smoking meats. I have a blackberry flavored lip balm. And I have a few plants down there, blackberry plants and some pawpaw trees.
Hi everyone, I'm Cindy with Hill Country Network and we're at Freedom Fest here in New Albany this weekend, having a great time. And I'm here with some people cooking up something that smells delicious. So tell us your names and what you're doing.
We're with Hill's Auto Sales. I'm Carl Hill. This is Rusty Barry Hill. And the other cooker is CJ Hill in the back. That's my son. And we are doing chicken, pork, and beef. And we have to have, since it's the Blackberry Jubilee, you've got to incorporate that in with. So we've made homemade blackberry barbecue sauce.
Oh wow, that sounds delicious. So you use it on all of your meats?
Most
of them. Most of it. Is this the first year for the Blackberry Jubilee cook-off?
It is. 7 years ago, they had it at Riverfest, and we had a cook-off smoke on the water at Riverfest. But this is the first one for the 4th of July.
Guys with the fire department here, which one?
New Albany Fire Department. Me and I don't know where the other one went, are on Station 2. And those two right there that you can see behind you work at Station 1.
Come out here to get something good to eat or enjoy the fest, Freedom Fest?
A little bit of both.
Well, enjoy your day. Thank you. Okay, we're talking with some more of the competition in this cook-off. Tell us your name and what you're doing here, what you're making.
Brock White, and we are Smoke on the Water with Kevin, Blue Line Smokers. And we are cooking a brisket and ribs and chicken.
It smells really good. Blackberries must be incorporated into what they're cooking today. So where is your secret blackberry sauce?
We have a blackberry sauce here that we will glaze the chicken and the ribs with as well.
Well, thank you and good luck. So look who I found, the Chief of Police here in New Albany, Mr. Chris Robertson. So what are you doing today, and are you participating in the cook-off or?
Well, yes. Yeah, basically the entire department has decided to participate. Tracy Venesi and Miss Billie Jean Stroud, who are kind of running Main Street, put the festival together. They asked me if any of the police officers would be interested in cooking, so I said I got some really talented cooks. So I put it out to the police department, and we actually have several members of the police department, two different groups kind of cooking. We have another one down there, Ashley Kidd, I think, is cooking in another group. So we got several of the police departments who want to show their cooking skills, and I'm all for it.
You're all for it. So do you cook?
I cook, but I got some here that are much better cooks than I am. I will admit it.
We're at the booth Stalling Out. Cute name. Why don't you tell us like where you're from, what you're making, and how you're using that blackberry sauce?
Well, we're going to mix it in with our barbecue sauce. We're going to make our own barbecue sauce and put the blackberry in with it. We got pork butts, we got bologna, smoked bologna, we got brisket. We're going to do brisket, and we're going to do some chicken bites.
Sounds great. Well, thank y'all for coming over, and good luck in the contest. So give us your name, where you're from, and what you're serving up today.
We are the barbecutioners, kind of like executioners, but barbecue. My name's Ashley Kidd. I'm from here in New Albany.
I'm Wesley Simpson. I'm also from here in New Albany.
For sample, we've actually got some pork loin with a dry rub on it, with a blackberry barbecue sauce. But for our main course, for our judges, we've actually got Boston butts, and it's of course it's injected with some special things. You know, we can't really say it. You know, gotta take it with us. That's right. But hopefully it'll take us home the trophy.
Great. Hope you do really well. Good luck. And what is your name?
Isabella.
Isabella. And did you make the lemonade?
Yes, ma'am.
It's delicious. You're very welcome.
She made it, taste tested it, wasn't happy with it, so she put some more in it and did it some more. So she did it all by herself.
All right, so who do we have here? What are your names, where you're from, and what have you got going on today?
My name is Jimmy Whitten.
Brandon Garrett.
This is our first year in this competition of the Riverfest Cook-Off, and we're just glad to be here, you know. So we're just out here enjoying ourselves. We're representing the New Albany Police Department.
So how are you guys using your blackberries?
If you'll shoot right over here, my wife went online and found a recipe for a paste, a barbecue paste. You need to try it. I'm telling you, it is delicious.
Added our own spices to it and change it up a little bit, and it's got a good sweet blackberry flavor. So
it's terrific.
This is Cindy with Hill Country Network.
This competition was so close that it was about to have the judges in a war because it's really, really close. But the winner of the first year, overall winner, Smoke on the Water, is Stalling Out and Luke. Our 10th winner is Brandon Garrett.
You said she's mine. You said she's mine. You said she's mine. You said she's mine. She's alright, it's alright. Alright, it's alright. The girl's alright. It's alright with me. It's alright, man.
I am with the band Dirty Streets, and I hear they are the band to listen to. I've heard some great things about you guys. I really have, yeah. So tell your names, where you're from, and a little bit about how you got started, how long you've played together, and some information about you. Where do you want to start?
Yeah, I'm Justin. I play guitar and sing, and this is Thomas. We originally started the band together. Yeah.
I'm Andrew. I'm just the third wheel.
Yep.
What do you play? Who's the lead singer? And
yeah, I'm the bass player. This is the drummer. This is Justin. He plays guitar and sings, so he kind of does it all.
How long have you been together?
We've been together for a long time, like 10 years. We're from Memphis. It actually started out with me and Justin. We had the idea to start a blues rock band, and luckily this guy moved in down the street. So one day I heard him playing drums, and it just kind of happened. Fate happened. I introduced myself to him. We said, "Hey, we need a drummer," and it kind of just stuck.
Yeah, it was actually sort of serendipitous because Andrew happened to move in down the street from Thomas's mom at the time, and where she lived at the time, and we just happened to ask him to play drums randomly, and he actually agreed. And it happened that we also shared the same music taste, so that was nice. And we've been playing music ever since. We honestly started the band not as friends, originally just as people playing music together, and became friends later, which is sort of the only time I've done that in a band. Every other time we've been friends first, and then music second, but this band was music first, friends second.
Well, do you write your own music, or do you play other artists' music, or both?
Yes, ma'am. We play our own originals, and we do play a couple covers whenever we get a chance to. But yeah, we mostly play originals. Yes, ma'am.
If you just go to our website at dirtystreetsmusic.com, you can find everything there, and you can find the links to everything to buy everything.
We have like vinyls, like CDs, like T-shirts, any like koozies, anything you can think of, we have it. So you could also find us on Instagram and Facebook and Twitter.
Who inspired you? Each of you, I'm sure, has someone.
Oh yeah. Well, there are definitely some bands who we got together real quick on, and I guess Humble Pie is a very big one, very prominent one. Band from the '70s, I'm sure a lot of y'all know, and then Grand Funk, and just a lot of American rock and roll. And
yeah, in the beginning we listened to like a lot of like hill country blues, like R.L. Burnside, Muddy Waters. We're also into like obviously bands like Led Zeppelin and like the Rolling Stones, and honestly, yeah, just like things like that really kind of like help us grow to where we are.
Yeah, I think that was the best part about when we met, is that we originally connected, me and Thomas connected on blues and talking about blues and blues rock, and then it kind of moved from there. We all like different types of things. Andrew was really into the meters and funk sort of stuff, and we all liked Motown, so everything was kind of song-oriented and sort of traditionalist American music, so that's kind of where everything stems from.
I started playing when I was middle school, playing in concert band and stuff, and then I got my first drum set when I was 12 at it's like a little rinky-dink set, and it was the coolest thing to me. It was I don't know, it was like an art piece, so I took to that and just kept on playing. I mean, it's the only thing I really, I've always enjoyed doing, so it's always an inspiration from the start.
Yeah, I think I started playing bass around 16. At the time, all my friends were playing guitar, and for some reason, I can't tell you why, I just like gravitated towards the bass. And obviously, like, I can play guitar, I can play other instruments, and I really enjoy it.
My grandpa was a musician in World War II and played in a touring big band on guitar, and then my dad was a musician too. He played bluegrass, so there was always guitars everywhere. So I've always had guitars around the house and just kind of started banging on them probably when I was like 9 or 10, and when you get permission to actually touch the guitar, because when you're a kid, you're not allowed to touch anything. And then it kind of just turned from that to, okay, now I'll start a band. My brother, I had a brother who was 4 years older, and we would play together with his friends, and we'd all just play 5 guitars at one time, and it just continued from there. So it's always been a part of my childhood, a part of my life, and I didn't really start playing out in bands at clubs until high school. So around the time, honestly, maybe a couple of years before I met him, I actually met him originally from playing shows in Memphis when I was in high school, playing in bands, and he was in high school. We just kind of met around that time. So, but it wasn't anything serious. No one was getting paid. It was just you were excited that you were playing in a club to people. So that's been the progression, and I think we kind of both came from that.
No, yeah, he's right. Like I think I saw him first in like a few of the bands he played with, and at the time, like I'd never been in a band. I just like jammed with a few of my friends, so he was definitely the first introduction to like playing live with anybody, so it was super cool.
And like I said earlier, that third wheel joke, I was a little bit younger than them, so when they picked me up, I just had to learn a couple things quick, and they already were acquaintances before me, so it's been a joy playing with them and knowing them and becoming friends. As he said, we didn't start as friends, it just happened to happen, and I've been very fortunate to play with these guys, and it's awesome.
Listen, guys, thank you so much for taking the time to talk with us, and I really have heard some great things about you. But can't wait to hear it. I sure have. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having us.
Absolutely. And I'm Cindy with Hill Country Network.